all right, guys. Well, let's first of all let's talk about our roundtable broadcast that we did on January 24th. And guys, from what the feedback I'm hearing, that I think we had a good broadcast. What do you think? Think we did good?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Seems like it. I checked the number of views this morning. We're headed for pretty much a normal number of views, unless we get a bunch of them tonight. I check it the following Saturday morning of the broadcast, um, so it, we allow a whole week. People that view the recordings, that does get counted as a view. So I give them a whole week for people to view the recording. So we're headed. I think today we were at about 120 views. So that's been about normal so far this year. But we'll see what the final number is tomorrow. Okay. Now I guess since you all hopefully you all got to see the document that I put out today. Just some thoughts that I've had about where we go from here, about the success that we had on the with our new concept, basically. So got some interesting feedback from a couple of you. So a lot to talk about here, but and I want to explain some thoughts that I've had, and that's what prompted the document that I put together. But I guess one of the basic questions that I'd like to pose to all of you is, do we want to, the feedback that I've heard, let me just say it this way, the feedback that I've heard is that the I want to know segment, which was the first segment, which is actually the roundtable, that was viewed as very good. And do you agree with that? I mean, was that your feeling that went over very well?
Absolutely.
Yep.
So one of my questions is, do we want to capitalize on that? Do we want to make the entire broadcast, or for the most part, a roundtable? Just like that, just like we did on the 24th, maybe enhance that some, maybe bring in some other people into it. It doesn't have to be the executive group all the time. And we're going to be gathering more and more responses from our Slido activities during the Monday night broadcast. We've got multi pages of questions that Rick pulled off of Citizen Builder that we can utilize as discussion topics. So what do you think? Do you think we ought to expand the roundtable portion? And what do you think about that?
I read the comments. I think.
Did you? Okay.
I think Rick posted some comments, and I know Marty did. And Marty said, yeah, and I agree with him, because we call it a roundtable, and we might as well just use the roundtable format for the whole program.
Yep. Dale, my thinking on this is, I think what you should do, though, is you got to break it up a little bit. So in other words, you're going to start out, you're going to have a little bit of an intro, and we're going to dive right into the roundtable. After we do like the first question, then I would stop that, play a short video, whether it's a Maringo mic or something like that, then come back and say, okay, we're gonna resume this, and we've got our next question to deal with, so that it's not roundtable start to finish, but you break it up into segments. And I just think about it, I don't really watch TV, but I know that, like, if you think about whether it's, I don't know, Fox News or any of those people, they'll have a segment on a topic. Of course, they go to commercials, but then they have another segment on another topic, things like that. So I think that breaking it up a little bit will enhance the quality of it. Have each part, move through, not like necessarily quickly, but you're focusing on one topic, then you break that up with a short video or something, and then you go to another topic, and then maybe another topic, and so on. And then you could have like, let's say you got a 5-minute video that you can use at the end. If the roundtable part's going really well and a lot of good interaction going on, carry that all the way through the end. But if you feel like, this is kind of getting flat, then you can say, okay, we've got a short video from, Mark Meckler or, something else that you're going to play at the end. Does that make sense?
I'll tell you, I like that suggestion, Gary. And you're right. That's what you see on TV. They break up the segments with commercials. Well, we've got, how about what we would call a commercial? How about a John's Journal video? Or we've got some other contributors that we're trying to find a place for them as well. We could break it up with contributor segments, 2, 3 minute, 4 minute contributor segments.
I think that would give a nice clean break from one topic to the next.
I agree with you. Yeah, I agree with
you.
So
you end one topic, and then you got, Doc Stock is going to do a little, whatever you're calling his, what's up, Doc?
That also gives time, if we wanted to bring in more people, different people for the next roundtable segment. I mean, we could, announce that on our next segment, we're bringing in, our so-and-so is going to leave us, and we're going to bring in so-and-so and so-and-so. And while that video is going on, then I remove people and add people.
Mm-hmm.
So when the commercial is over, then we've got John's got a different set of people for the roundtable, if that's what we wanted to do. Is everybody, what do you think about that idea? Kind of like that.
Go ahead, John. You got a comment?
Well, I hope we're not replacing the whole roundtable panel. Maybe just 1 or 2 people to rotate.
Yeah. Yeah. We would have to discuss that and decide that. Yes.
Especially if the next topic is going to be something where we can bring in someone with expertise, like if we were going to talk about vaccine mandates, we'd bring Dan Stock in.
Mm-hmm.
and turn him loose for about 30 seconds, and 5 minutes later shut him up.
Yeah, 30 seconds is not enough.
and he's good. Don't get me wrong. I'm
right.
going to hear him tomorrow. He's going to be speaking in Noblesville. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
He's good. I'm just having fun with the fact that he's like an alarm clock. You wind him up and he goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rick, what are your thoughts?
Well, the thing that comes to my mind is I've read that, people's attention span is 18 minutes. After 18 minutes, they're gone. So that's why you try to keep presentations to that kind of time frame. So I like the idea of breaking it up with either a video or something, 3 minutes, something in between. And so I like that idea. I think that would help keep it, keep people's mind refreshed back to it. Oh, there's a change here, and that's what I think holds people's attention is, instead of just looking at the same screen for 40 minutes or whatever, the scene changes. Okay, now they've got this and now they got back. So it refreshes people's attention span, I think. So I like the idea of having a couple breaks in there with, a 3-minute presentation or a 3-minute video or something like that. So I think that would make it
Okay.
help keep the energy going with it. But I also like to, I'll just say that, I'm a big one about keeping things simple, but, I don't think.
Keeping things what? Say that again.
Keep things simple.
Okay.
So the idea of having like the 5 on the executive team in the first part, and then bring in somebody and take somebody out in the second part, that just creates a lot of work for you. That I'd just think, have the 5 guys and maybe the 1 guest person, which I really like the idea of adding a guest person because that adds a new dynamic every month, a new perspective on things. And just do that at the start and then not worry about, changing the team from one section to the other. I think that's just a lot of hassle for you, honestly.
Well, that's not a hassle. That's not as long as I know who's supposed to be where and when.
Right.
That's really not difficult. And it's much easier. I think it's smoother that be done while something else is going on, like a video, and that would give us a good opportunity to move people in and out.
Yeah.
So,
in keeping with what Rick said, though, one thing I think is a very good point, and that is you don't want to mix it up so much that people feel like they've lost the continuity between the first, segment and the next segment.
Yeah.
If you change too many people, that could happen. So yeah.
Yeah. Let me ask this. John made the comment, I think, in one of our rehearsal meetings. The comment about recording his closing.
Yeah, showing the website and all that stuff, because it's the same thing every time.
Do you think? Do we want to keep that? And is we can record that? That's no problem. We can get that done. Do you think that's something that we should go ahead and do? Record that last segment.
I like the way you guys close it, so I would think it's good. Yeah, I'd be okay with that.
Not eliminate John from the closing.
Oh.
Personally, but maybe show the video and let him show the website and go through the steps on the website, and then he comes on in live and actually closes out the broadcast. Does that make sense?
If he's saying the same thing, each month, then I don't see any reason not to record it. And you could use that recording until you decide you want to make a little change, maybe, or change the ending. But if he's going to basically say the same things each month, then why not record it? Makes life simpler. Can focus on the things, in the meeting that he really has to manage, as opposed to the part that is just rote.
Yeah, it's the invitation to join and to volunteer. It's the same each month. And if we're going to record it, I suppose I could spice it up some and really put some oomph into it. I don't know.
Okay.
Stand on my
doing it, so
stand on my head and do it.
All right. We'll. Do you agree with me, though, that to actually end the broadcast, that it would be necessary to have him come on live and actually say goodnight to everyone? I mean, actually end the
Yeah, because in the closing is when I mentioned the date for the next roundtable, and
Exactly.
so that needs to be different every month, slightly different.
And the email address and
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
so that part would have to be live. But
Who monitors that new email address?
Ken and I.
Okay. Get any emails since Monday night?
No.
Oh man.
No.
Okay.
Hey guys, it's going to take time. It's going to don't expect a lot of results quickly. It takes time to get for this stuff to settle in and people start reacting.
Well, I just thought Susan Lyon would fill up that inbox.
Yeah. Well, Rick, I think there is one email, and it came from Rick.
Oh.
Now that you mentioned it.
You asked me to send a test to it, and I sent a test to it.
Was it the test? Okay.
Ken said he got it, so.
All right. Okay, well, that's good. That's good stuff.
Can I add just one thing real quick?
Yeah.
On the thing about, rotating people in and out of the panel, I think it's important to have that panel get used to each other, especially when you add somebody new to it like that. So, I think a group like that needs time to get comfortable with each other. So I think the more you can keep that group together as a whole, rather than having somebody going in and out in the middle of the thing, I think is better, just to help them get comfortable with each other and react to each other. Because, that's a lot of the dynamic is the guys feeding off each other back and forth. So.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, as the host, it helped me a lot whenever one of you had something to say. You raised your hand like this, and then that helped me know who to call on, and it kept people from talking on top of each other and all that. So it just happened naturally, and so I wanted to mention that as a good way going forward.
I wish StreamYard had the raise your hand feature like you have in Zoom, but they don't have that. But that does the same purpose.
Yeah, I mean, we can just coach everybody to say, hey, flip your hand up if you want to be called on next, and then kind of work that out. People don't buddy in over top of each other.
Right.
Yeah, and it worked really smoothly Monday night. It just happened naturally.
Yeah.
So I just want to encourage that.
Okay. Now, what we're talking about here, though, is we're eliminating the segment or segments. Well, like we had on the 24th, like we had with Gary and Rick and Marty, we're basically eliminating those segments as we had them structured on the last roundtable.
Right.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, right, we're eliminating that and just going to the roundtable format for the whole program.
Now, I suppose we could, as part of that roundtable format, I mean, we could, just for example, I mean, we could do a segment where Gary would be the guest, and we would discuss some topics related to his particular area. Is that something that we would want to do?
I think you might want to say that, tonight we're going to focus on a topic, not so much on a guest. If it's somebody who's a regular part of the panel, it'd be kind of odd to call them a guest. If you're bringing in somebody that is not customarily part of it, then I'd say, hey, we've got the special guest. But otherwise, like, we're going to focus on this topic. Maybe Gary's we're going to talk about, what region captains do, or, what the role of a region captain is. And that might focus a little more on me, but it doesn't, we have to be careful how we structure what the segment is so that it is, I think, related to a relevant topic and not necessarily a particular person. Maybe it's their role, but it's not them as a person. I don't know.
All
Just
right.
thinking out loud.
Well, and as we stated with our new concept is that the topics that we're going to be addressing on the roundtable will be determined, supposedly, will be determined by responses that we get from the Slido exercises, right? So those topics will drive the need for expertise or the need for a guest or the however we want to structure these roundtable segments. So
yeah, I think
I forgot to take the phone out of here. I'm sorry, I forgot. Okay, who was it? Rick, were you going to say something?
Well, I'm kind of formulating my thought here, but I think one of the things we have to, we've got a different format here where it's not like we're not like doing a TV show where we've got to fill up an hour because we got to fill up until the next program comes on. So we don't need to be set in stone the exact time. But what if I got two thoughts going here. What if we just, did like 40 minutes of the round table and then, see how it goes from there and not specifically say, we're going to do an hour, but 40 minutes at the round table and then let John take it from there. If you got a good thing going and you got another question in your pocket, you can take it longer, or if things are not going so well, you can make it shorter, that type of thing. So,
Okay.
and then, if something does come up, like through the month that you've got something that, maybe somebody's popped up that they want to say something for 5 minutes, that you can say, well, come to the round table and we'll give you 5 minutes at the end of the round table or something like that. And just each month, just kind of see what pops up and tag it on to the end if you want to. And then maybe I got too many things thoughts going here. But, and the other thing, I just wonder, like with your Monday night broadcasts, I mean, is there a 3 to 4 minute segment that we could cut out of that and stick in for these little breaks? Or that was just thinking out loud.
Stick in as one of the commercials that we're talking about.
Right.
Sure. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I've been trying to decide which format do I want to use the contributor pieces, and I hadn't found that, but I think the format we're talking about for the roundtable, I think that's where we can best use the contributor segments, and I can take those out of the Monday night broadcast.
And then stick them in as our little break in the program.
Right. John, you need to get busy and create some more for us.
Oh, you don't have enough?
I don't know how many I've got left that I haven't played yet.
What about like Debbie Stewart? A constitutional minute.
Yes.
And just have some little 1 to 2 minute chat about a particular topic, and then use that for the transition. So
I've been trying to figure out how to get her. We got a shell set up for her, Debbie's Talk, just like John's Journal, and we've been trying to figure out a way to get her involved in this. And of course, we got Dan Stock with What's Up, Doc, and we can certainly, if there's some other individuals out there that want to become a contributor, we can create a show for them too. So we got between John, and Debbie, and well, even Paul. Paul has his free to be free moments that we can use too. So we've got content there that we can use, and I think I like the idea of utilizing those to break up the roundtable format as we'll call them commercials. That's what you see on TV.
All right.
So, one of the things I was trying to kind of hit at in my comments about the format is, or the roundtable is, that I think we need. So if you throw out the topic, what's the most important topic that the convention should deal with, we want people to come at it from different directions. We don't want everybody saying, "Oh, the budget, the spending is the most important," or something. Not that we may not. I mean, we agree that each topic is important, but I think we need something that's kind of a point counterpoint thing where people are saying, we don't just all think alike, is what I'm trying to emphasize.
Okay.
We don't want to look like we're all just echoing everything you see on the website, and there's no real reason to tune in because all you're going to hear is stuff that's right off the website. If that makes sense.
All right.
I kind of like that, Gary, because you could have, what you're saying there. I kind of picture George would be saying, "Well, I think the term limits is the most important," and Gary could say, like, "Well, no, I think it's the balanced budget that's more important," and they could have that debate going back and forth there to bring out really in depth of why each one's important.
Yeah,
that'd be interesting.
Well, and I think we can invite on these segments. We can certainly invite viewers to give us their opinion through comments, and we can inject that into the discussion. Okay. Well.
Did you guys watch any of the Nebraska debate?
No, I didn't.
Well, I watched a little bit of that. And one of the things that's interesting about it is that these people had different ideas that I've never heard before. And the guy, I think one of the main guys supporting it, he's like, "Hey, you know what? There are 3 people in this chamber that are opposed to this, and all 3 of them are running for a seat in Congress. These are people that they don't want to take power away from Congress because they want to go to Congress." But, that's an interesting, creative argument. Never seen that on our website. And of course, there's no reason it would ever be there. But I think it's illustrative of the fact that there are so many points of view out there that, we haven't thought of before, that through this roundtable, and if we can get questions and stuff from people, we can create an interesting show that promotes Article 5, but also says, hey, there's lots about this that we can talk about. And it's not just, it has to be a balanced budget amendment and a term limits for members of Congress or something.
Okay. All right. One of the other things that I mentioned in this document that I shared with you all, some of my thoughts, was, and this idea popped in my mind. I was watching Tucker Carlson the other night. Do you all watch him?
Once in a while.
John, do you watch Tucker Carlson?
Rarely.
Okay. Well, Tucker has his standard evening broadcast. I think it's what Tucker Carlson Tonight, I believe is what it's called. It comes on at 8 o'clock every night. Well, then he also has the specials that he does on Fox Nation, which he called Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson Today, I think, is his is his standard broadcast every evening, and then he has Tucker Carlson Tonight, where he interviews a special guest, a particular individual. Could be an actor, could be someone you've never heard of, could be anyone, somebody generally very interesting, has some sort of a different opinion on something. And have you seen any of those?
Mhm.
Have any of you watched those?
I've seen a few.
Okay. Do you ever see
Nope.
that, Gary?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I have not.
All right. Well, he spent these interviews last about an hour, and he talks specifically to this one individual. And I was thinking, well, why don't we do something like that? If we go to this roundtable format, which it appears like that's what we want to do. I'm thinking, we could do. I think we could do an hour on, or close to it, on just Marty, or do an hour just on Gary, or do an hour on someone else in the Indiana Convention of States organization, someone else that's engaged in activism, or is doing something special. Rick, whoever, Susan, whoever it might be, that we would do. Ken and I would interview that individual, and if it goes an hour, that's fine. Or it would be an in-depth interview where we have time to actually for that person to present what they want to talk about. And it would be pre-recorded. We would record it, and then I'll get into how we would distribute that in a minute. But those would be recorded interviews, and I threw out the term COS Indiana Live exclusive. That's just something I thought of, but we would call that something different, and we would. I thought about this watching Tucker Carlson, that this is another way to get at if we're eliminating these segments in the roundtable, this is another way to get at that person and what they do, and to another way to focus on more people in the Indiana Convention of States organization. What do you think about that? Does that make sense to you?
I'd say definitely something to try it out. I mean, because you're just recording it, and then you can go in and edit it if he feels like it needs to be edited. You've got something, then you can decide, how you want to use it or where. But
well, I'll get into my idea as to how we would distribute that.
Okay.
But what do you think of that? What do you think of the concept? I know somebody, Gary, were you doing the red comments, or was that you, Rick?
I think that was Marty.
Marty?
Mine were yellow.
Okay, yours were
Yeah,
yellow.
color in mine.
Oh, were yours yellow too, Rick? I didn't look at yours before I did mine, so I didn't know. But
I didn't have color in mine at all. So.
An hour is a long time, and
it doesn't have to be an
right.
hour. It just needs to be, I think, enough time to fully cover.
Go in depth. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you want to end it when people still want to hear more.
Well, yeah, but the full, whatever time it takes, it would be devoted to that particular individual, and and what they're trying to present.
Well, here's my thought about it. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I don't watch much on YouTube, and and I don't watch much on Facebook. I'm just not a video guy. I'm much more auditory. And I'm not normal. Most people are visual. Okay, I know that most people are visual.
Yeah, that's true.
But I did. Joe Rogan has one of the top-rated podcasts in the nation, and he has really long form interviews. I mean, I listened to his podcast with the doctor who
Malone, R.W. Malone.
Dr. Malone. Yeah. It was 2.5 hours.
You just gave me another idea, John. Okay, go ahead.
It was 2.5 hours.
Really?
And oh man, long form interviews, really. Now, a guy like Joe Rogan can hold an audience for an hour or two. I think that's a special talent. And Tucker Carlson can do a 1-hour interview. It's a special talent. I don't have that talent. But I'm thinking, here's what I'm thinking, Dale. If you and Ken interviewed somebody for up to an hour, that could very easily be put out on Facebook and YouTube, and it'll collect however many users or viewers. We don't know until we try it. But then I'm thinking, chop it into shorter segments, and about every 2-3 days, release 5 minutes or 7 minutes, because I think, Rick is right. The average, attention span of people is about 18 minutes. But that's if it's really good entertainment. If it's not Hollywood production stuff with a lot of action and music and background and sound effects and all that stuff, I think average attention span is about 2.5-3 minutes. And so that's why I'm thinking if we get an hour-long interview with a lot of good content, chop it up into small segments. Each one makes sense standing on its own, and release one of those every 2-3 days. And I think that will multiply the viewers, exponentially. I think it could increase viewership exponentially, not just 2 or 3 times, but to a power of whatever. So that's my unreflected upon opinion. I just now came up with it in the last 5 minutes. Okay. Take it for what it's worth.
All right.
But I'm a proponent of short and sweet. I really am. I think, most commercials are 30 seconds or 1 minute. And then you've got the shopping channel where they'll do, 2 hours on trying to sell you a Vegematic, but most of the advertising money goes into these 30-second spots. That's because they're more effective than the infomercial that lasts 2 hours.
Yeah.
So that's my opinion.
Okay.
I think there's probably an audience for each.
Yeah.
In the sense that the 30-second commercial as well as the 2-hour infomercial. But I think that there are 2 elements in an hour-long interview. One is the interviewer, obviously, and the other is the interviewee. Now, you could take Dan Stock. How you doing today, Dan? And, he can go for an hour, and he's interesting. He's a very gifted making presentations. Not everybody is, but a good interviewer, I think, can help make it interesting without having to be interesting themselves. In other words, I haven't really listened to Joe Rogan. I probably listened to 45 minutes of him with Robert Malone. Other than that, I've never listened to him. But I think it's a skill. You and we're going to have coffee, Dale. I'll talk to you about some observations I have about the interviewing part. because when I was in Michigan 100 years ago, there was a guy on the radio named JP McCarthy. It was JP on JR in the AM. First time I heard the guy, I thought, this guy is amazing. And he was a tremendous interviewer. Absolutely won all kinds of broadcasting awards. And he had WJR dominated the radio market in Detroit, and it was because of him. Largely, he was on in the morning, and he'd have, he had all kinds of great guests, but he was a very good interviewer. And a good interviewer can take a person that isn't necessarily, gifted and articulate and keep the thing moving and make it interesting, I think.
Okay.
Well, I like the idea that you're doing. I'm just concerned about like the timing of it, and that sort of thing. So, we've just taken on, this new roundtable format. We're trying to get it launched and, get it on its way and let it evolve into whatever it's going to evolve into here. So, I'm not sure that's something that, because it sounds like most of that would be you and probably Ken and whoever it is you're going to interview. So it's not going to involve a lot of the rest of us, I suppose. But
Right.
I just worry about it, the timing of it being right now, especially while we're trying to get this roundtable thing on a new format and get it up and standing on its own here. But so, and then, the other thing, like I said in my Slack message, I worry about diluting our audience if we have too many things. I mean, we've got the Monday night thing, and now we got the roundtable, and then if we had a third thing, then we're trying to reach all these people, and if we have too many things, I just worry about diluting the audience with too many things. And I'm kind of like John, I'm kind of making this up as I go here. So it's kind of
That's okay. That's okay. I mean, this is not something that I'm asking to do tomorrow. This is something that we need that I want to talk about and mold. I think the important thing is, of course, our Monday night broadcast and the roundtable. Those are the priorities. And this other thing I'm talking about is something that we can hash and talk about some more. I want to show you what I'm doing here, and this. I came up with this idea mainly as an avenue for getting out the COS Indiana Live exclusive interviews that we just talked about. But I think it has a potential for other things too, from a promotional standpoint. When we do a broadcast, for example, the roundtable broadcast that we did on the 24th, those are automatically recorded. And of course, we are broadcasting to Facebook and we broadcast to YouTube. So the recording of that broadcast is StreamYard provides me an MP4 file of that broadcast. But since we broadcast to YouTube, it's automatically recorded on YouTube. And it's that the YouTube recording then is the recording that we share to other platforms. But those other platforms to so far are my personal accounts that I've created, and I'm talking about Parler, Rumble, Twitter. Those are pretty much it, I think, here. but those are shared. I share those, the recordings, the YouTube recording. I share those to those platforms and my personal account. Well, here's what I want to do. Here's what I'm going to try and show you the best I can here. As you know, you all see this. This is our YouTube channel. And as you know, National wanted us to change the name of the YouTube channel. And we did. We changed it to Indiana Patriots for COS. Okay. And we have on this, we have all of our all the videos that we've created over the years, to include, of course, our broadcasts that we do now every week, as well as the Roundtable broadcast. Those are all on YouTube here. And Convention of States National also has a YouTube channel. And if you remember, they wanted us to change the name of our YouTube channel so it wouldn't conflict with the national YouTube channel. So we did that, okay? And I've been after National to allow us to either broadcast to the national account, YouTube account, or at least post our recordings. Well, I can't get their cooperation. They won't give us an exclusive way to do that. Okay. So and then they asked us to change the name of the channel on YouTube. So we've done that. Okay. And so what I've done, what I've also found out is that National has national accounts set up on about 10 different social media platforms. Pinterest, Instagram, Twitter, Parler, MeWe, Rumble, TikTok, and even a platform called Locals. Have you ever heard of Locals?
Nope.
I've never heard of it either. But National has a national page on each of these platforms. So what the idea I came up with was, okay, this is what our YouTube channel looks like, and why don't we set this up? Indiana Patriots for COS will set up a page, exactly the same thing on each of these platforms. And I'll show you. I've already done it on LinkedIn. So I've set up. I'm still getting some things worked out on this, and I've got some help that's going to help me get this set up on these other platforms. And it'll be Indiana Patriots for COS on each of these other platforms. It's going to look just like this, just like the YouTube page. And this page will be where we will share recordings of our broadcasts. These will be the pages where we will, if we do these COS Indiana Live exclusive recordings, we will post those to these pages. We can also, and I want you to understand, these pages will be exclusively for Indiana Convention of States. And Ken and I will be the admins on each of these pages, and we're only going to allow Convention of States Indiana material on these pages. So this is where we can put announcements for upcoming events, Rick. We can put, like I said, the videos for the COS Indiana Live exclusives. We can put post the recordings of the Monday night broadcast as well as the recordings of the roundtable. So what I'm trying to create here is I'm trying to create a group of platforms where we can get out exclusively Indiana Convention of States content. So what do you think?
Yeah, we ought to do it. I mean, we're going to reach more people.
I gotta believe part of, and we've talked about this before, part of getting more views on our Monday evening broadcast as well as the roundtable is the degree of promotion that we can do, and I think this makes more sense. Now it's going to take time for the Indiana Patriots for COS pages to be recognized, and of course we would promote these in our broadcast. It'll take time, but I think it will in time will be a good avenue for promoting our Monday night broadcast as well as our roundtable broadcast.
Did you, Dale, did you talk to Brenda or anybody else at National about doing this?
Not this particular idea. No, not yet. I will, okay, but not yet. No.
Well, I mean, I'm kind of like you. I think that if you want to get more views, being on more platforms seems to me like a logical thing to do. And if you are, what's the word? But anyway, as the admins, you can control what is permitted on there. Then yeah, you could keep it, all COS Indiana all the time. That's a good idea. What about platforms like Gab or Getter?
Yeah. I was just focusing. As a matter of fact, I share the recordings on Getter. But yeah, we could add other platforms. I'm just right now initially focusing on the ones that National utilizes.
Because one of the things, if we can get on, myriad of platforms, one of the things we can do then is have our social media warrior team,
exactly,
promote all these, and
exactly.
It gives them something to do. Yeah, I think that's a great plan.
Exactly. We could put our newsletter on each of these platforms too.
Yep.
We could let you live stream to all these, or they're just
no, we don't have the ability to live stream to them.
Okay.
Except LinkedIn. We do have under the plan that we're on, we do have the ability. LinkedIn is supposed to be a destination we can do, but we haven't got it set up yet.
While you're setting these up, one of the things that came to my mind when we changed this to Indiana Patriots for COS, if you go on there and search for Convention of States, does anybody find that? I mean, should we be saying COS or should we be saying Convention of States just to make it searchable?
I don't know. You're saying if someone goes on a platform and they search Convention of States, will this show up?
Right.
Is that what you're asking? I don't know.
Yeah, it might be good to say Indiana Patriots for COS and then have dash Convention of States or something like that. Because, yeah, people are probably going to search for, you know, Convention of States rather than for, just the COS
COS.
acronym.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
That's one of those things we kind of use internally, but when we're communicating with the external world, we probably we don't want to use acronyms and little things that are meaningful primarily to us.
But I wanted to bounce this idea off of you tonight. It's not. This is all the farther I've gotten on it. Okay. But I've got some help. Somebody helping me on this. And I think I think it could be a way to better promote and get out what we're trying to do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The more you get the word out, the better. So sure.
I think we've all recognized that the social media platforms, although they have their drawbacks, but that is probably the best way to reach as many people as possible.
It's where the action is, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So we haven't come up with another way. So I want to make sure that we're not in any we're not in conflict with national in any way, and I will get this cleared, but I mean, they wanted us to change. They wanted us to change the name of the channel to the YouTube channel to this. So should be okay wherever we put it, I would think.
Well, they have the link to your COS Indiana Live on that Leaders Roundup every week.
Yeah.
And so that's that's getting spread out. I was just wondering if there's any. It's probably more of a national thing, but if maybe we think in terms of, is there anybody in the state of Indiana that has a kind of a big audience that we could kind of trade with, that's a like-minded, and we put a link to like their podcast on our social media, and they put a link to our stuff on their social media. I don't know if anybody does that, or maybe people don't necessarily want to associate with somebody, but
well, isn't that what happens when someone on one of our pages, when someone clicks that they want to follow that page, doesn't that set up the link?
Well, that makes them a follower, but unless this is one of the things that if we get our social media warrior people, they all go follow these things, and you get other outside. The more followers you have, I think the more they promote your Gatter account or your Gab account or whatever it may be, the more likely other people are to see it. But I'm thinking if there's somebody, I mean, like a Ben Shapiro's got a, huge following. Well, National might do an exchange with him, or he might have COS, National is following him and he's following COS National or something. I don't know if there's a way to do something like that.
Yeah, I don't know yet.
I don't know who it would be, but so I know National, one of the things was kind of interesting that they said the only people they've ever teamed up with are the Rick Green and his Constitution class and the Front Sight people. Other than that, they've been very cautious. They don't want to partner with people because if those people do something that looks bad to the public, then you're associated with them. So you have to be very careful about that. But something to keep in mind, that if we figure out who might be a suitable partner for us, that we could have a conversation about that.
Yeah.
You know, one of the people that I had set up for potentially being one of the guests on the roundtable in the old format was a group called Young Americans for Liberty.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they were, I think it was they were formerly Paul Ryan's presidential committee. And so, but they were right in tune with what we were doing. But, the two people I ran into just accidentally at that thing in West Lafayette with Senator Braun, and the Bernie Sanders thing, they started talking about what they were doing, and it was just right in tune with what we're doing. So there's groups out there that are doing the same thing we're doing. Whether they want to link the two together with COS, I don't know.
But even, if you have like them on as a special interview for Dale and Ken, do a special interview with somebody from them, and that is in the history everywhere you look, like on YouTube, this is the interview with them. That kind of gives us a tie with them. And if whatever media they have, if they do an interview with us, that would kind of give us an informal link and relationship.
Okay.
I think all those are good. They're a lot of work, a lot of somebody knows more about it than I do to execute the plan. But yes, good idea.
I'm just thinking. I know. Rick, we've talked about how do we get the word out on this? How do we promote this? And I'm just thinking this might be certainly another possible tool to use.
Yeah.
All right. We covered a lot of ground tonight. We're a little over an hour now, so we're way beyond your attention span, aren't we?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mine probably, for sure.
I probably lost most of you a long time ago.
What are we talking about?
I guarantee mine's not 18 minutes, that's for sure. So.
All right. Anybody got anything else? I do want to, guys. I do want to continue meeting every Friday, at least until we feel like we're at a point where we're comfortable with what we're doing, and we can, not have to meet every Friday night, but. I would like to continue doing it every Friday night until we get to that point.
Okay.
Which we will. So
So
thank you for everything you're doing. Thank you.
Okay.
Script a little bit.
See you in a week.
All right. Good night, everyone.
All right.
Yep.